Is anybody here yet? Maybe not. Whoops. How's that? Can you hear me? Is anybody here? I need somebody to show up. We're live. It says there's two people. One people's here. I don't know if anybody can hear me. Can you hear me? I guess I'll type it in. Can you hear me now? I'm talking now. I guess if I'm not talking, you can't hear me, can you? All right. But can you hear me? It's not coming through my speakers. I think that's the way it's supposed to be. But I kind of need to know. You can hear me. Thank you, Karen. Appreciate that. Well, let's give everybody a couple more minutes. It's actually 1:59 by my clock. I'm always early. As you can see, I'm going to be painting over an old painting that it just didn't go where I wanted it to go. You know, I mean, that's 99% of the time. You know, the first layers I put on a painting aren't going to be how it ends up. So I'm going to be starting. I'm going to be starting an well, it's not abstract exactly. Well, yeah, I'm going to be starting a landscape that's in a very, I guess, modern style or something. I don't know the name for it, to be honest. I mean, some people would call it abstract, but I happen to agree with the artist. You know, a lot of artists say that every painting is an abstraction. Even a photograph is an abstraction because you're taking a three-dimensional reality. And you could say that reality is more than just three dimensions. Visually, it's three dimensions, or, well, that's spatially. Spatially, it's three dimensions. But in every reality that most of us occupy, you know, there's also the temperature of the place. You know, wherever you are, you know, there's conditions and context that cannot be, you know, there's smells, there's noises, and a photograph alone or a painting alone, you know, videos, you know, provide the audio, of course, but picture, you know, photographs and paintings do not. So right there, it's an abstraction. You've left out, you know, some of the details that, you know, could be very pertinent to whatever the experience is that you're trying to communicate. All right, so, well, there's three of you. That's it, huh? Whatever. I'll go ahead and start. Everybody's always late. I'm always early. I was born 2 weeks early, and I've been early the rest of my life, every place I go, pretty much. Not always. I don't do anything always. So, what am I using for a palette? Can you see that? I just grabbed an old picture I didn't particularly like, the painting that was under the glass there. But, you know, I picked up these picture frames for about $10, I think. And it's glass, and, you know, acrylic comes off of glass pretty easily. So that gets, let's see, I'm going to adjust this just a little bit. There. Okay. I hope I got enough paints laid out. The first thing I'm going to do, did I already show you this? I don't think I showed you this. This is the little sketch, not much of a sketch. It just gives me an idea on where I want different values, basically. I'm also a big believer that the colors are secondary to the values in a composition. That if you get the values right, or if you get them right, I hate to use that word, but if you get them right, then you're going to have a strong painting usually. So I'm going to pin that up. Keep referencing it. And I I am not yet in my studio. My studio's out back, you know. Most of y'all probably have never seen that unless if you're taking some of my courses, then you've seen it. I mean, that's where I film my courses, but I haven't filmed any courses with it. So this color is, I don't know, it's kind of putty color or something. It's house paint. It's acrylic. So I'm going to start this painting in acrylic. This is already acrylic paint that's on here right now, but I mean, all that's going to be gone. But right now, I'm just laying in some lines, you know, a rough idea of where I'm going. It looks like it's right at halfway. Right. So. You may not even be able, I don't have a lot of light in here, I guess, but maybe I should have done this with another color. Maybe I should use another color so y'all can see what I'm doing. I could use green. It's going to end up being green eventually. A lot of that is. Not all of it. You may not be able to see this color either. I hope so. So I'm just kind of laying in some rough idea. Oops. Yeah. Look at that. That's okay. There's old carpet on this. I took all the carpet out of my house, but I did it after I'd already moved into the house. So I didn't do it this was my bedroom. It's not my bedroom anymore. I moved out. I moved into a different room. Okay, so okay. This, can I get there? Nope. So I'm just going to lay this in. Start getting some big shapes put in. And yeah, after all this acrylic paint dries on here, I'll probably give it a couple of days just to make sure it's really dry. Even though generally speaking, acrylic's dry even faster than that. Then I'll take my my oil paints and paint over it, which is something I really haven't done. You know, it's kind of a new technique for me. We'll see how it goes. Same thing over here. Now, a lot of times when I do landscapes, even regardless of whether they're realism or whatever, or abstract or whatever, a lot of times I'll start with, you know, basically a landscape has three picture planes. You know, the foreground, the midground, or middle ground, and the background. And I would usually start on the background, which is generally the background is the top. Of course, if you're abstracting the painting, It might not be. It might be the side or whatever. You know, when you're okay. So okay, I'm through with that color. Um, so these won't necessarily be the colors that I end up with. You know, they probably won't be. In fact, well, this paint is. You know, when you abuse your tools and your supplies, they can end up giving you some interesting. Um, well, they can change. You know, like the paint gets really thick a lot of times, even in a jar, because there's air in there. You know, and you can't buy paint this thick, or at least I don't know where. So it's kind of interesting. To me, it is. But that's not the color I'm looking for. Not that it matters that much. I'll go ahead and it doesn't matter that much, so I'll go ahead and, all right. So how much space do I want in here? I think about that right there. I want this fairly straight, but if it isn't that straight, it doesn't matter that much. I mean, you know, this is the initial steps, so, you know, you can always move stuff around, you know, that's what real artists do. A lot of people think if they don't get it right, you know, like, oh, I ruined it. You can't ruin it. You can stop working on it, but you can't ruin it. There's no such thing. So, you know, sometimes you just have to keep going. You know, you only thought you were through. That happens to every artist. I'm just, or this will get covered up with trees. Okay. And what? I haven't even, oh, this is yellow. I wonder if, yeah, okay. For some reason I thought I didn't have any yellow, but there it is. I already know this is not going to be yellow in the end, but for right now it's going to be yellow, green, whatever. We're going to knock over. Oh. You know, I know it looks ugly now. Who knows if I'll be able to make anything out of this? We'll see. You know, these are like I said, these new techniques and um, kind of a new style for me. So, whoops. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Mix some of that putty. One thing about house paint is it just, you know, it's the way it flows. It's like I really love that. You know, it's got like a creaminess to it that I've never gotten from even the most expensive acrylics that I've bought. And it's a whole lot cheaper. I mean, it's, I don't know, 100th times the price or something. I mean, it's ridiculously cheap compared to other acrylics, and it is acrylic. It says so right on the. Anyway, it's paint. I don't even care. I'll paint with mud. You know, the best way to make your paintings last forever is to take a photograph. All right, you know what? That could. I mean, that's. I don't hate that color. Yeah. Okay. Now I want. I don't think I have any orange. These colors will change. I know they will. That's okay. Doesn't matter. So I'm mixing up some red with some brown, burnt sienna. I call it brown. Looks brown to me. And I'm not even cleaning my brush because it doesn't matter. It's like, because I don't know what color I actually want yet. I just know, you know, that the shapes are what I know I want, but I don't know what colors exactly. I know it won't be this color, but it doesn't matter. You know, not at this point it doesn't. You know, just getting these big shapes on here and covering up, you know, all these black lines and stuff. You know, the first steps. You don't have to worry. When you're doing the first steps on a painting, you really don't have to worry at all. You know, if you ever watch other people paint, you know, professional artists and stuff, you'll realize that when they start a painting, it doesn't, you know, a lot of times they're like, what are they doing? Because it doesn't look like it's headed towards where they want it to go, but it'll get there. You know, just keep working on it. You know, don't give up too soon. Of course, you can overwork a painting too, but you know when to stop. It's always a personal choice. You know, some artists have worked on paintings years after they thought it was complete. You know, I mean, the story I heard about Georgia O'Keeffe was that she took some paints into a museum where one of her paintings was displayed, and broke out her paints and started painting on her painting. You know, it was already in the museum. They thought it was good enough to be in a museum, but I guess she decided, you know, that it wasn't, or what, you know, she wasn't finished with it. But that's how it goes, you know. That's why if you're not sure about a paint, if you're asking everybody else, that's really not a good idea to do that. It's not a good idea because you're the artist. You're the artist. You know, when it comes to your paintings, nobody else is the artist. You're the artist. Now, if you're just starting out, you know, it's like maybe you got a teacher that you know take classes from every week. I mean, I guess it's legitimate then to ask them if what they think. But at some point, you got to stop asking other people what they think and just do your own thing. You know, what do you think? Because ultimately, that's. Oh boy, what do I think? I think I should have thought about the colors I was using more. But I put it over there, in for a penny, in for a pound, right? So I'm going to put it on the other side too. So I got to mix up some more paint. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll get there. It'll get there, one way or another. It may be 6 more layers of paint. Who knows? But when I'm through today, it'll be closer. It'll be one step closer. One step closer out of 1,000 steps. That's okay. And that's hyperbole. It's not 1,000 steps. But on it, there may be, I doubt there'll be 6 layers, but before I get to the oils, putting the oils on top, there's a good chance that there'll be another layer of acrylics. I'll give more thought to not to the values and the colors, and work everything out either on in a sketch, or maybe with a photo editor. I use GIMP a lot. It's free. It's a little wonky sometimes, and they, you know, I mean, if you're trying to do a lot of work with editing images, then you're going to want something better than GIMP. But mostly, most of the time I'm just cropping and adjusting colors, and it works well for that. I mean, you know, all the basic functions of Photoshop it has. It's a whole lot like Photoshop Elements, but like I said, it's a little wonky. I mean, I wouldn't say it's as good as Photoshop Elements, because I don't think it is. But once you learn how to use it, if you're coming from Photoshop or Photoshop Elements, you don't always find things in exactly the same place. It's a clone. You know, I mean, it's whoever built it put a lot of work into it, made it. Oh, that's horrible. That looks better on there. So it looks like it's just, there's not too many of you here. Hello to everybody. Go ahead and say hi if you want to. I hope you can still hear me. See, the microphone doesn't feed through my speakers, which is good, because if it did, then there'd be feedback, you know, and that wouldn't sound well. So that's good. That's the default. Let's put these trees in. I think I'll use, what is it? Some blue, maybe a little more blue, and some black paint. Whoa, that's too much. That's all right. Well, that's going to look black on there. That's one thing too. If you're running low on black paint, you can always stretch it by adding some blue to it, or brown, and you can add about 50%, and it will change the color, but it'll be very subtle. You know, so that's a piece of knowledge. All right. Well, I'm going to do it anyway, because I already said I would. But I really should be up here now, but I'm not. That's okay. It'll work out in the end. So, see, this looks black, but it's about half blue. Okay. And I mixed up a lot more black or dark color than I needed to, but that's okay too. I do hate wasting paint, but it happens. It's a very stylized tree. How's that look? What a joke. All right. Has this guy ever painted before? Doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. I guess, there it is. All right. So, where can I put this extra paint? I don't have any paintings in there. Normally, I get other paintings laying around, like make marks on with the leftover paint, that's on the brush or whatever. So there's a ton of paint I put out there that I'm not going to use. Okay. So now I need. What do I need? I need like a gray, kind of a gray for back there. Okay, so I'm gonna use up some of this black paint, dark paint, whatever. Okay. Okay. All right. So I don't want this to get out. There's some kind of rusted in. I might have to get something to step on when I get way up here. I love working on large paintings, but sometimes you have to have ladders and stuff around. Like I've worked on paintings that were 8 feet tall. It's been a while. This is 6 feet. No, 5 feet. I'm sorry. The canvas is 5 feet, but it's 2 feet off the floor. So actually, okay. So now rub it in there. Oops. No, that doesn't matter. My hands are shaking. So you guys still there? Everybody hanging in? Well, okay. All righty. I keep mixing up too much paint. Usually if I'm guilty of anything, it's not mixing up enough paint. I like that. I mean, I like it when the brush grabs a little bit of the paint that's already on there, and then moves it around. Whoops, where am I going? Ah! Oh, I lost track of where. I guess I was going to take the whole way. I lost track of where I was going. Doesn't matter. That'll get fixed later. Paint on, paint off. Not really off, but subsequent layers cover up a lot of what you've already done. That's okay. That's how it works. That's part of the process. And most artists work that way. Not every artist. You know, most artists work that way. Most artists work in layers. If you're not working in layers, I don't know what you're doing. I guess I could. Looks like there should be. Something like that. I don't know. Doesn't even matter. Now the sky area. Or the road. The road will be easier to do. I got this gray. I can make it just a little bit darker. And see, the details come later. I mean, there won't be a lot of details in this, but I mean, as far as like, getting the edges exactly like I want them, that all comes later. So it's kind of this imaginary line there where the road dips. And I think that this should be a lighter value, but not much. But I think it would get. I think it might get darker as it goes into the background, maybe. I might have that reversed though. So anyway, I'll just mix a little more white in here. That's quite a bit lighter, but that's all right. And I like letting paints, mix on the canvas some too. So that you end up, with very nuanced variations in the hue and the values. Oops, it's okay. I should be using a bigger brush. I don't know where all my bigger brushes are. I was unprepared for this. I've been painting on little small paintings, really small for me, 8x10, with the oil paints, but not even. I haven't even been painting that much, to be honest. I'm hitting that green that I accidentally got in there. That's okay. But yeah, I've developed an interest in oil paints, and I was going to do this all in oil paints, but I didn't have nearly enough. I bought like a set of inexpensive, oil paints, and there's not enough to cover this canvas. So I thought, well, I'll just start it with acrylics, let it dry completely, and then work on it with the oils. That way I won't need as much, at least in theory. You see how that goes. All right, so we almost got. I can always turn this upside down. That's a good strategy too sometimes, because you want to get out of the habit of trying to paint things. Like when you're painting this, don't paint it. Think about it as a shape. Just paint shapes. If you're painting shapes, then you can be more concerned about, instead of trying to make it look like a dog or a car or whatever. You just paint. You see the shape. You learn to see in shapes. And so it's like when you look at something, you see like big shapes. Like. And you see those shapes in terms of value more than you do in color. When you do that, then it really helps to simplify the composition. Okay. How long have I been painting? 37 minutes, really? That's a good workout, I guess. Anybody got anything to say? Nope. All right. Y'all don't be so shy. I mean, I guess if you want to, you can be. Well, here's a chair. I guess I can stand on the chair. Of course, I got stuff on the chair, though. Just give me a minute here. I'll just put it on the floor, I guess. God, I just cleaned this place up a little bit, huh? All right. Guess I'll put it on this side. All right. Now, you know what? I won't be. I'm just gonna turn it upside down. So I moved all this stuff out. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna turn it upside down. Turn it on its side. God, if I can. I tell you what. Wrestling this. Whoops. Wrestling this thing isn't easy. When you got an 8-foot canvas, the canvas I had was 6 feet by 8 feet. Have I painted one larger than that? I think that's the largest I've painted, maybe. I did paint a 10-foot painting, but it was only 3 feet by 8 feet, about 10 feet. So, anyway, maybe it looks better that way. All right. I don't even have any paper towels in here. Oh, I've got one. All right. So what? I guess I'm gonna use a light blue, right? I gotta mix a light blue. On this brush. And I mixed mix the blue paint into the gray, so it doesn't matter. I like this brush. I wish I could find one that was like, 10 times this size, like 5 times as wide, and I think I'm gonna have to start building my own brushes, you know. I want some really big brushes. I just haven't found any. I mean, I've watched people use other tools like mops. I tried that once. It didn't work too good for me. I mean, I want an actual paintbrush, but I just want it like really, really huge. Guess I'd have to make my own. Now this time I probably didn't accept it. Okay. Now this isn't mixed up very well. It'll mix on canvas. I definitely need bigger brushes. Huge brushes. I guess I can put some plastic wrap over my palette when I'm through. It might keep the paint fresh for a few days. I got plenty of canvases around here that need some more paint on them. Okay. Turn it back over again. Voila. Okay, it's just an underpainting, man. You know, it's just Now I kind of have a map where I'm going. I'll probably move one of those trees. I don't know. All right. Thanks for showing up. I will see you guys whenever. Later. Thank you. Bye.